As a graphic designer who works from home, I spend a lot of my time by myself in my office. And while I love the privilege of being able to work whenever and however I want, lately I've really been missing the collaboration and overall connection with other creatives. So I went ahead and did what anyone would do. I packed up my car, drove 8 hours up the coast to stay at a campsite with 25 other creatives I'd never met before. And today I want to tell you a little bit about that story. And despite what you may think, if you're introverted, creative, or like working alone, having a community of like-minded people is essential. So let me go ahead and give you a little bit of backstory. The past 3 years, I've been creating content pretty regularly. I still don't see myself as a content creator full on, but hey, some other super talented creators do, I guess, so somehow it's part of my identity now. And there's this really cool thing called Creator Camp, and it's almost surreal that I got invited to this because I remember hearing about it once or twice from some of the legends on YouTube, Colin and Samir.
That's actually something that is happening on YouTube. There's a group of younger creators that refer to themselves as the YouTube New Wave.
And I thought it was just this fancy retreat for talented creators that, quite honestly, I would never be able to associate with. However, one day I was sitting in my office just doing my thing, chilling, and I got an email from one of the founders named Chris. I opened it up and honestly at first I thought it was a scam, but after doing a little more investigating, I realized they were actually inviting me to stay with them in NorCal at this awesome campsite where all the other creators were going to get their own cool little Airstream. The founders, Chris, Max, Simon, and Christina, are all mad talented in their own right. And after doing a deeper dive into their goals as a company, I knew this was something I had to be a part of. You've got your eyes on her, and you can't turn away. The day I was supposed to leave, it was some of the biggest storms I ever remember in California. Perfect weather, for an 8-hour drive upstate. I started my journey up there on Friday and went through all these different patches of weather, and it's pretty insane how diverse and large this state of California is. I even hit a dry patch where I saw legit tumbleweeds flying through, like out of some Looney Tunes shit or something. Driving up though, it was going through my mind crazy how I got invited to something like this. I felt so much on the outside looking into any of this creator economy stuff, and to think I'm hanging out with the same people I watched videos or read articles on was equally intimidating and exciting. And as I got closer and closer, I hit some gnarly weather. The final stretch was terrifying too, going through these mountains and stuff, but it was equally beautiful. As I arrived, I was pretty nervous, but also so excited to connect with people who would probably genuinely understand what I'm about and have just tons of stuff to talk about and learn from. The property was beautiful. It had this dope little lobby. Everyone had their own private Airstream, and it felt like somewhere you could, get some work done and also chill and hang out. The pad for the week. Everything was going pretty well. More creators started to pile in. The first person I met was this talented guy, Ethan. Then though, we were all hanging out, waiting for more people to come in. Flights were delayed, this and that. The power went out. Remember that bad weather? I guess it was a lot fucking worse than I thought. I'm thinking, oh, well, whatever. Power outages, we'll get our power back on in a few hours, maybe tomorrow morning. The power stayed off for 3 days. These people were so dope that I had a good time regardless. Talking to everyone the first night was already so inspiring. They were talented. There was filmmakers, musicians, poets, all kinds of creatives who were just so good at what they do. When I first started hanging out with designers at these like Adobe events and other things in the city, I thought we got along so well because we do the exact same job. And I think that's true to an extent, but I'm starting to realize is that I just have a yearning to connect with other creatives in general. when you're around people like you, it's so easy. You don't feel like ostracized at all. You don't feel different from the groups you're in. And I barely met these people and they already feel like close friends and gave me a sense of validation that I think sometimes other people cannot give me outside of, these respective industries. The first night, it was starting to come to an end, and even though I was freezing cold in my Airstream, I felt really excited for the rest of the trip. So I'm holding up this lantern because the first day we got here has been pretty crazy at this creator camp. The power's been out since we got here, so no Wi-Fi or none of that, and no light, obviously. So this is what we're working with tonight. Waking up Monday, unfortunately the power was still out. I had no internet and no cell reception. Kind of liked it though, in a weird little masochistic way. It's sad I have to be forced to disconnect by the powers of nature, but oh well.
I think some people are very good at talking about something. Morning.
How you doing?
Tired, but excited.
The first day was pretty wholesome. We hung out by the fire, shared stories, and eventually we realized the power wasn't coming back on today, so we drove out to the coast. Everything's so beautiful in this area. You can go anywhere and just see some amazing nature. And being disconnected from technology really gave me the mindset to appreciate every little moment like this. And it's funny because, you're hanging out with these people like you would hang out with your friends. But a lot of them have these crazy cameras and are mad talented cinematographers. So just going to the beach looks all cinematic. And like I said, I met this dude Ethan a little bit that I followed beforehand. And we got along super well. Throughout the trip, we continued to bond over some hazy IPAs, and I told him about the best beer in the United States is from this area. And from that point on, that was kind of our side mission for the sake of the trip to get that thing. And as the day went on, I felt pretty good, and the only thing bumming me out was imagining sleeping in those cold, damp sheets again. But fuck that. I was trying not to worry about it. So in the meantime, we did some physical stuff, played some basketball, workshops, and hung around the fire. And I was really out here playing in my Doc Martin, so, I could shoot as much as I could. Since the power was out, we had to get pretty creative at night. This dude Brad shared with us this most insane version of the game Uno I've ever played.
I'm here to set his trust.
Brad. No, Brad.
I'm here to set. All right, I'm going next. I told you.
As I made the cold walk back to my Airstream, I was dreading going to sleep in that cold bed. But at the same time, what was running through my mind was how grateful I was to be able to go to something like this, despite any of the negative circumstances that may have happened. And it was already so much fun, and we still had 3 days left. So if you need any inspiration to step out of your comfort zone or try things you wouldn't normally do, then take my word for it. Because as creatives, we need community. And now more than ever. Tuesday morning, I woke up and took the coldest shower of my life. And you know what? It wasn't too bad. People are all doing cold plunges and shit like that these days anyway, right? I realized I needed something like this more than I could imagine. Not only hanging out with the fellow creatives, but the disconnection from the internet and technology. It was nice not to worry about, Instagram and YouTube and emails and whatnot. I think everyone else really liked it too. I could feel energy in the campsite, almost like an anxiety being lifted and a bunch of these lost creatives rejoicing in the idea of finding their people. And it sounds, corny and cliche or whatever, but it's true, all right? I normally don't get to hang around with people like this that are so inspiring and talented each day. And this trip made me realize I need to do that more often. I think the power being out helped too. Everyone was more loose, out of their comfort zone. They couldn't resort to their standard looking at their phone. And I think we would have spent a lot more time in our Airstreams if internet and power was on, but who knows. I also probably wouldn't have went to the beach. We got this giant group of people and went to the coast once we realized there's no more power. And I spent so much of my time staring at a bright screen in usually a dark room. So being around natural light and kind of living by the sunrise and sunset made me feel a little more human. And at night, we could be around the fire, singing cliche songs like American Pie and John Denver's Country Road. But the levee was dry, and good old boys were drinking whiskey. It's funny because I met this dude Paulo from the UK, and he's just sitting around seeing us sing this shit and thinking like, damn, they really do this shit out here in America, huh? Day 2 ended was pretty amazing. I love seeing the different side of California that I'm normally used to these days. If I'm being honest though, I think this was the last night I'd be okay sleeping in this freezing cold Airstream. It's cute and all, but it was getting a little much. And I'm not that much of a pussy. I just didn't bring my normal camping shit, so I was cold. Anyway. To run away. To run away. At this point, I think the charm of human connection was starting to wear off, and we wanted power. The poor fucking chef, man, he had to cook all our meals over flashlight and propane stoves. But I'll give it to him, he held it down. And morale was pretty low, and I think Chris, one of the creator camp guys, noticed that. So he gathered us all up for a field trip to this beautiful seaside hotel kind of type place. It was bittersweet. I love this place. It had cool design. It was all like Swiss modernist, great food, lattes, everything. But Chris said, oh, we could have been staying here. On the plus side, when we were on the way, we got a text that the power was back on. And I could feel everyone being so psyched, and we could just enjoy these amazing vibes during our time here. And as I'm walking around, scoping it out, checking everything before this workshop, I noticed something. Over at the bar, I see the logo. They had it. Pliny the Elder. The beer we've been searching for, and they had it on fucking draft. So Ethan, Brad, and I got some pints and, enjoyed this beautiful small win. Being disconnected from the internet really does help you detox your dopamine, because just staring out this window and drinking this best beer in the world, supposedly, I could not have been happier. And just hang out with people who are not only inspiring, but just good to talk to and creative, just dope people. And everyone's so talented, and the fact that we got along regardless of our experiences and professions made me feel comfortable. And this trip really inspired me to be more myself and take a little bit of my unhinged energy into the rest of my content pursuits for 2024. Whatever that fucking means, And the trip back was filled with optimism. The power was back on. We had some workshops to go to. How you feel?
I feel great now.
And at night, we played some more games, did some light painting with this insanely talented artist, Hallie. When the power was out and I was in my cold room each night, I was kind of indifferent to how long this trip was going to last. But now with that warmth from the heater and the warmth from all the new homies I met, I just wanted to stay for a whole nother week, honestly. I went to bed, comfy, cozy, waiting for the next day. And holy shit, Thursday I woke up feeling refreshed. You never know how much you love just a little shitty space heater until you don't have one. On the last day, we mostly just hung out and participated in this cool short film workshop thing that Ethan hosted. I was lucky enough to be on the team with Joel, because that dude can make anything cinematic.
Heater, and it wasn't working. All of a sudden she heard some ruffling tinfoil. She tried to go outside, but was completely locked in. All the campers heard was an intense scream, and the only thing they found when they went back to check was a squirrel stuffed animal.
That was so bad.
I'm just so jealous of how good these people are at filming, and it inspired me to step up my game in the future. On the bright side, Kat and I were able to contribute something to this little project too, and whipped up a cool little title card for the final video. Graphic design, it ain't much, but it's honest work. And at times, When I was here, I felt a lot of imposter syndrome because everyone was so talented, especially in the video making. But when people finally saw my design work, they were like, oh, okay. And that made me feel proud, and like I belonged in this space of talented people a little bit more. So be proud of how far you've come and just stick around other creative people who inspire you to make cool shit. The last night was beautiful. It felt like how Seinfeld ended, right at the point when you want more. On the last day, we said our bittersweet goodbyes and went our separate ways. I honestly think Creator Camp class of February 2024 will go down in history. There's no way these talented creators are not going to keep making moves. So keep an eye out. And I met this mad smart entrepreneur, community builder kid, Ami. He needed to ride back to LA and I took him with me. It's nice to have some company too on the drive home, so it kind of flew by. And during the time on the way back, I really came to appreciate how cool of an experience this whole thing was. It's insane to think only a few years ago, I was struggling to find my place as a designer in the corporate world, and quite honestly feeling a little bit like a fraud. And these days, I'm just so fucking grateful, man. I just get to make cool shit online, work with cool clients, do my silly little art thing on the internet, and experience things like this that I only would have dreamed of growing up. And just work on a craft that you genuinely enjoy. Share that with other people and make an honest effort to connect with other creatives online and in real life, and it could take you farther than you'd ever know. Saying peace out to the folks at camp had me a bit melancholy, but I know it's just see you later and not goodbye. So go out and find your community of creatives. Trust me. Whether you feel okay being alone or think you're too introverted, that's just an excuse. I promise you, life is better with cool people to do shit with. And lastly, thank you so much to all of you who support my design work and watch my videos. None of this would be possible without any of y'all. And I love having my own little corner and community of the internet where I can share this kind of stuff with you all. So much love and talk soon. Peace.